very fantastic evening to you who is watching Sunrise TV. Wherever you're watching us live, thanks so much for being part of the show. Today is the 24th of June 2024. We are live for the sports actually desk in here. My name is Jero, as usual, the host of the show. I do have my good friend and the only pride actually in West Nile. That's none other than my good friend, Mr. Rubanga Ken Morris. You're most welcome to the studios of Sunrise TV, and it's first time we shall be tackling 102 stories with you. You're most welcome to the studios.
Thank you so much, good friend Jero, Sarah Rise TV for hosting us for this show, and it's honored being here. I'm glad that I'm here for the first time. We shall be discussing sports, as Jero said. We are into the mix of sports. We have a lot of category of sports, local, international. Basically, in Uganda here, we're going to tackle a lot of things within Arua City. I think Jero has more information. Thanks.
Morris, how has been the life general outside? Like, I think there's been the last time I was with you, I was in one of the radio stations way back. I missed your voice a lot, and it's always a pleasure being with you. Remember, we are connected at Green Forest. What's the latest from Green Forest FC before we proceed to other stories?
Probably Green Forest FC at the moment we are organizing some big events that will be coming on soon. Being a club chairman, acting club chairman, we're also looking for a new chairman to come in on board. We have a lot of things that we're going to push on to bring new players in, organizing for the new season. We are planning to pay a visit to sick mothers in the hospital. That's the campaign we're beginning with.
That's a very great initiative.
We're gonna do in 2 of the health centers within Ethiopia, where to come from. That is Center Sumta and Health Center 3 Ethiopia.
Okay.
We shall be visiting schools with time, also doing general cleanness within the community and outside the community also. So we have a lot of programs for the boys for next season. We are good to go. We are also probably looking at maybe a new person coming in to take the ownership of the club, and maybe financially, our 4th division clubs, we are not doing well.
Yeah.
So we are trying to look for a way of looking for someone who may come through anytime. I don't need to come directly like this, but I know our prayers will work out that the boys next season are going to be okay.
I remember we failed to make it to the zonal playoffs down in the Zombo. What has been the latest development as far as the team is concerned in regards to, you remember, the transfer period is coming very soon, and probably clubs will be adding players into the system, and we have players who are not who were not updated into our system. As far as I'm concerned, it's like Andy has left the club. You remember, he was our 80 man, and the latest that I have got that he has left the club already.
No, Andy is with the club. It's only a few era of communication gap that people think Andy had left the club, but Andy is with us. He's still our media guy. He's the one who fits players in the system and everything. So it's waiting for the right time. The right players will bring them, they fit them in the system. But Andy is with us. He's nowhere. He's around.
Yeah, that's a very good development. Let's talk about the factors that happened at Barva today. Okay, before we go to Barva, I know you have something related to say. You can go on.
Yeah. So as I said, the last time I was with Andy, he only told me he's waiting for our submission that these are the players we want you to put in the system, and then he's willing to do so. And then we have been struggling. Remember, last season Green Forest was the only team without the tenures, the transfer team kind of. So this time, the chairman actually had promised that we shall get the TNS, so that most of the players who are in our system and they could not get the license, they are going to break through this time. So no worry about the TNS issue.
Okay.
We are going to be fine. So that's the only development at the moment at Green Forest.
That's very interesting. Let's talk about the latest development that has just happened at Barfa Stadium, whereby the events that were taking place at the stadium kind of ended in a very unfortunate way. We did see tear gas being busted around Barifa even around the areas of Arua Hill, even the golf course. There was tear gas all over. So, what is the latest? I know you were personally there. What happened on ground?
Probably I've been there at Barifa with my girls. That's St. Mary's, the Jaffa girls,
Yeah.
secondary. We truly supported them. They made it with whatever category they played their final.
First, wait. I'm told you hold a very big role in that team of St. Mary's, the Jaffa girls. Are you the coach in the volleyball section?
I do part time at St. Mary's. I do help the girls because I do spot the talents. So soon, Ugandan Premier League system had changed. Every club must be having girls club. So I do cooperate with the Jaffa girls, knowingly I'm going to get good number of players at St. Mary's, whereby I've even started the campaign now. So helping them go through volleyball, helping them. They're the champions. They are crowned the champions in volleyball. Helping them in football. I have my agenda that I'm trying to chase. So, helping them, it gives me that passion that I'm doing what I love with the girls, and I love girls football too. So, what had happened at Barifa just now for a few hours ago, the girls. St. Mary's took over. They played final with Republic in netball, whereby the result was unfair. It was 34-17. So Republic were currently the champions.
That's in netball.
That's in netball. In volleyball, actually, yeah, St. Mary's won the trophy in volleyball. They are the champions. They managed to beat Embarrass 3 straight. That's best of 5, but if it comes 3 straight, that's done business. Aroa SS, we are doing so good in athletics.
Yeah.
Mvara girls, we are doing so well in athletics. Mix of Ombachians are also trying their best in the boys category. But the game ended up well. It ended up peacefully, very peacefully. Although it started in a wrong manner. It started with stones and what. I don't know whether this is the culture in West Nile. We still need to, I think, lecture, move out. I think school to school, lecturing the teachers, the ed teachers, the students, so that such kind of acts should not happen. But I thank God it happened in an area where there is no any business that taking place.
Exactly.
It never interrupted anyone's business. The game itself officially ended up well with a nice run. The tear gassing started, I think, when the kids were now coming back home. I think they are trying to become spearheaded, and then police have to turn up, and the security was okay. Yeah.
Thank you so much, actually, for giving us that comprehensive reporting there. It's kind of very unfortunate to see that students come into that kind of fracas. Remember, games are something that kind of unites us together. If that kind of hooliganism is still there, it's kind of very, very unfortunate. I think the school managements of the schools within Arua City needs to sit down probably, iron out some of these things and see that everything goes on smooth and there are no fracas. When you see a student being arrested actually at the CPS, it's kind of very, very, very unfortunate even there. Let's proceed and we'll talk about some of the developments that are happening right now. The latest that I'm getting indicates to me that Bida Ezra has crossed over to South Sudan to a team called Jamus FC. What a big move for a player in the names of Bida Ezra, who is a player of Western Province, and again, he has featured for Ndupraka Football Club and Chitume. Remember, he featured for Uganda Cranes under 17. So, what a move for Bida Ezra.
Probably I could say it's a very big move to his dream. He made it, and then it's a very big sorry to Nduparaka Football Club that they have lost one of their best players. The question now would be, who is the replacement of Bida at Nduparaka FC? I don't see anything wrong with Bida going to Jamos because it's one of the best clubs in Juba. I think they went unbeaten in them being crowned the champions.
Yes,
so I think it's one of the best. It's the best club right now. You can compare Jamos as the Express of Uganda, or maybe the SC Villa of Uganda. They have more achievement in Juba than any other club. So in Uganda or with Bida's issue, it's all about at this age is the right time he moves for better money. Our big league clubs, they don't pay players on salary basis. They only based on like playing. They only based on
Much allowance.
martial allowances. So it's always very hard training allowances. So there's no any constant. If I saw he put down a pen and paper on a contract of 2 years,
Yeah.
which is a very good deal. If you can raise him some good money, come and set up some something good, and that shows that yeah, Bida has ever been a player, then it will be one of the best dream he has ever fought for.
What are we seeing forward for the football club after meeting a very influential player and someone who has been very calm with the club, and how great will Onduparaka miss his services?
Onduparaka will miss his services, that's 100%. Because this is a player who has been so far like from a junior team of Onduparaka. They are the core players who started Onduparaka. They made Onduparaka through Premier League. They made Onduparaka almost became bigger than Uganda itself. So I remember when the Bidas, the Gibsons were playing with Gomahia at Nambole. I felt like people were asking where is this Onduparaka comes from. So they have missed a very big talented kid. The question is now, who is the next replacement at Onduparaka for Bida? Because at this time, you're releasing a player go, you must be having someone who is coming next.
What do you remember? Onduparaka did say that a player who has got a lucrative deal somewhere, they are free to let the player go. And we've seen some of the talented players in that team. You could talk about the likes of the guys that has left the club already. Then you could talk about a player in the names of Yakini Rashid is one of the influential players in that team of Onduparaka. Remember, he wanted to leave the club 2 seasons ago. And the Onduparaka hierarchy convinced him, and he stayed put with them. And I think this time around, he could be important to leave the club. And one of the players is Ondama Junior, a very polite player. He's always very unique, and he knows how to talk.
I think Andama Junior is one of the talent that they may miss also because of recent. I doubted his movements, but as if he was kind of like I didn't know anything about it. But they are most likely to leave Onduparaka. But now the main key is who are the players? Because I know one of the players, maybe Onduparaka wants to bring in, is a youngster from a 4th division club. That's longer from Green Forest. I think they want to bring him the boy. And the boy is also talented. But now, who are you ask yourself, you're bringing in a young talented kid. I think they should create some maturity into the game. Although the Caesar Samson Okutis are still there, but who are the main key players you're bringing? That's the question.
I remember Samson Caesar Okuti mutually agreed with Onduparaka that he's kind of committed. Remember, most of these actually second phase games, Caesar didn't take part in some of these games. How does that one actually show for you that is he still into the system on Onduparaka? Remember, he signed in as a coach player for 1 year.
For 1 year.
And his contract has expired. I know him jogging around. Does it mean that he's looking for bigger deals? That's something Shizukuti for you.
At the moment, if Caesar is looking for a bigger deal, then I think he might have he should go and do more studies on his coaching career so that he goes for a bigger club. Because there's no doubt he's a good coach. He has been one of the fantastic players in the Ugandan Premier League. The all-time scorer. He's a motivated player. He's too good. Whereby, at the moment, Onduparaka had the suckers, the rockers, until the management came to the fans. Now, it will depend on the fans. Who have they surveyed? Do they have their scouting team? Because at the moment, you need to ask yourself, you're letting these players go. Do you have your scouting team that and made communication to several players to come in? That's now the best question. And if the scouts are there, who are the scouts? And they should now come out in public and say, we have scouted these players. We are bringing in these players. Then we are announcing a new coach if that's what they want. Because most of the players that are leaving, these are the key hearted players for Onduparaka, and they are too close to Caesar.
Thank you so much for that exclusive analysis right in there. Maurice, let's cross borders and we talk about international sports, and we talk about Liverpool Football Club, whereby I know someone might be there smiling that Rubangakere Maurice loves talking about Liverpool. It's final here. And they have signed a little bit, a couple of big name players into the system already. They have signed a player in the names of Jeremy Frimpong from Bayer Leverkusen. as a direct replacement for Trent Alexander-Arnold, who has crossed over to Real Madrid on Bosman rule. And then there's one big player that they have signed in, that's none other than Florian Wirtz from Bayer Leverkusen for around 116 million pounds, including add-ons that are yet to accumulate. It could easily go up to 120 plus. That's Florian Wirtz for you. Then this evening they've unveiled a player in the names of Milos Kerkez from Bournemouth. What a signings for Team Liverpool.
It's a very good preparation for Liverpool. It shows that they truly want to defend the title, if I'm not mistaken. Because a serious coach will always, I think this guy had picked up from where Johan Klopp stopped. If they want a player, they always rush the business to be too quick and too sharp. And that's how Klopp developed the club. And when he was leaving, he said, I'm leaving the club, but I know the club is somewhere. So when Aaron Slot came in, people were like, the Netherlands international, they are not so good. The coaches are not so good. Because if you look at the signing of Jeremy Frimpong, he does almost what Trent Alexander does. He makes the run, he delivers the crosses, he scores even the free kicks like Trent Alexander-Arnold. So the deal made it quickly. It was a quick replacement. So it shows that they are ready for the gong for next summer. If you look at the German international, that is Florian Wirtz, a few Germans have come to England, have tried. You look at this guy at Arsenal, Ozil tried, came, made it, he didn't shine a lot. The recent player, who is also Kai Havertz, is trying. But if you look at Kai Havertz's level, he's not more talented than Wirtz. You look at the tally of goals Wirtz scored at Bayer Leverkusen. You look at the kind of assist he made at Bayer Leverkusen. Actually, they one point went unbeaten because of Wirtz. So if you have a very good attacking midfielder that Liverpool had ever missed since Coutinho left, since Roberto Firmino left, Liverpool had never got a brain playmaker like Wirtz. So I think this is a very good signing. A brain maker, a playmaker. He scores goals. He knows where the accurate passes goes. So it shows that Liverpool is ready for the gong next summer. You talk about the Bournemouth announcement.
Milos
Kerkez that is also coming in for medical anytime. That you truly look at a point whereby Andy Robertson is now growing a little bit older.
More to remember, this guy has been at Bournemouth for a couple of years, and his first ever signing year was that last year. And Jeremy Frimpong has been signing at Bayer Leverkusen before. Florian Wirtz has been signing before. So we say that Liverpool kind of rushed with Milos Kerkez.
Liverpool didn't rush. This boy is still a young lad. He's growing up. He's still learning. He's going to learn more from Robertson. You remember this guy who came from Olympiacos in Greece. This player, Smikas, was not really coping up the way Robertson plays. But if you look at this young lad, his defensive ability and everything, this boy is good, fantastic. Although it takes long for a player to shine in a club. They have not been giving him opportunity because he's young. So when he got the opportunity, he had to showcase his talent, and that's why Liverpool had gone for him. I believe Liverpool cannot go for a wrong person. The only player that I think Liverpool made a few losses, and if they had to sell him, I think Nunes have failed to catch up with Liverpool.
Maurice, let's talk about the fighting spirit in that team of Liverpool, the competition level, that team of Liverpool. We have seen Florian Wirtz in. I know those players in the defensive setup will not be having much competition in that backline of Team Liverpool. But let's focus on the midfield setup of Team Liverpool. You have a certain Szoboszlai in that team. You have Elliott in that team. You have McAllister in that team. Then you have Florian Wirtz. Whom will you bench in that midfield setup of Team Liverpool? And where would you fancy Florian Wirtz to play in?
Because if you look at all the positions you have mentioned, you could say it's only Elliott that you could say is attacking midfielder. McAllister is more of a number 8 and not a number 10. So
remember, Gravenberch is more of a box-to-box midfielder, but he has been shifted to come and play in that number 6 role.
Yeah, Gradbach is being forced to play number 6, but he can handle. But now, if you have if you look
But
if I say let me compact my midfield to be solid, I think I'll talk about Gradbach.
mm,
I'll talk about McAllister.
mm,
Then I'll talk about the forward to go in. That's Weeds.
mm,
You understand?
mm,
That midfield is totally solid,
mm.
so solid. It's going to be a little bit hard for someone to pass the two Gradbach and McAllister because they're all typical fighter.
But do you still think that Liverpool needs a natural forward?
Yeah,
You remember all this while.
if you look at the Liverpool setup,
Mm,
they didn't have a natural forward
mm,
because the only natural forward we had was actually Liverpool had was Nunes,
mm.
whereby he has not been performing well. So at the moment, if you look for a natural forward like Isak, assuming Isak comes
I
in,
remember Darren is not a natural forward. He loves coming from the flanks. That's what he prefers most. But if you're to be Ancelot, let me give you that quote of Ancelot. Which player will you sign in that forward position? Because there are a lot of players that people are talking about,
I
and
think
they are
if I could be Ancelot, I could go for Rodrigo.
Rodrigo.
Real Madrid. Then my number 2, I think, would be Isak because he knows where the goal is. He's a natural one. He made it. He scored whatever crazy goals. If you follow his CV from a previous club to the next club, he has been always a wonder kid.
Mm.
Yeah.
But what people are talking about, one of the allies actually strikers that every club is talking about, including Liverpool. They talked about Hugo Ekitike of Team Eintracht Frankfurt, one of the prolific actual strikers who signed last season for Eintracht Frankfurt. Would you fancy Ancelot signing in him, or you fancy a player in the names of Isak? We all know that Isak's price tag is very high for Liverpool.
I think I could fancy Isak because this young lad will come in. He's younger than Isak, but if you want long term business, you bring Dikite. If you want also another good market for you, a competitor that is a fighter, you bring Isak. So I think on my side, I still get stuck on Isak.
Okay, let's talk about Chelsea Football Club. There's a big news for Team Chelsea Football before we proceed to Arsenal. And there's a bigger news for Arsenal Football Club also. Let's first talk about Chelsea Football Club. Remember, they have signed in a strike already in the names of that's Riem Delap from Team Ipswich Town before they went in for what we call the FIFA Club World Cup down in USA. And again, they're almost finalizing the deal of Jamie Kittens from Team Borussia Dortmund, who banked around 14 goals last season for the team in the Bundesliga. Will he be that player who will come and complement very well with the likes of Cole Palmer in that team of Chelsea Football Club? Do you fancy he's coming at Chelsea?
It's a very good player. He scored 14 goals for the Bundesliga side. The question is, he's a good player. The question would be, how would Chelsea play him? Because Chelsea have very many strikers. Very many strikers. Will he fit in the system early? Because at the moment, you still have Nicholas Jackson. You still have Kunku is
But
also
he,
trying to look for a ways of living.
but notice all these players you mentioned, they're kind of inconsistent for the team. Nicholas Jackson is not a reliable goal scorer for Team Chelsea. Remember, he's not a natural forward. That's Nicholas Jackson for you. Then Cook himself is also inconsistent, and his form dropped a little bit.
The truth is, the form dropped because Chelsea had very many players. They are undecisive. Because at times you look at if you look at the forwards, you talk about Kunku, you talk about at one point they could bring in Sancho, who went back at Manchester United,
Yes.
who helped them also, who made them won trophies. Then Nicholas Jackson became almost like the number one striker because after missing all like 10 to 5 opportunities, then later on he scores. Now, how will he fit in the system? That's the question. If he's ready for the gong for competition, then fine. He's a good player. He's still also a youngster. But I'm saying it will be like only the system because most of these Chelsea players were not bad. They were good players. It's only how to utilize them was a problem.
Morris, I think his coming will be of a great achievement for Team Chelsea. Remember, Modric is one player who has been sidelined in actually on the sidelines for a very long time. Remember, his ban has been not yet lifted. The ban still stands. So I think when he comes in, he could be having a direct influence in the team of Enzo Maresca in the team of Chelsea Football Club. Remember, Sandro left, like you said, he left, and there's no one who will be coming into deeper debt in case one gets injured.
It's we just pray hard for the young lad to make it at Chelsea, but he's a good, fantastic player. Thank you.
Let's first talk about Aston Football Club. Remember, Victor Gyökeres, a player that they have been chasing all this while, has kind of called his sporting director that he wants to play for Aston Football and he will never play again for Sporting CP. Is that on a good conduct?
Probably, you see, most players, if they're too committed to a certain club where they want to go, they always live in bad-mannered behaviors. You remember Raheem Sterling going to Chelsea. You remember Luis Suarez heading to Barcelona. So I'm just giving you the highlights of those kind of examples. The person who left in a very good manner, I think, is Trent Alexander-Arnold. So, like, I don't deny his opportunity. He wants to change the environment, which is good. But now the question is, Arsenal is delaying with the deal. These guys they're asking prices a little bit higher. So there's no way the player would have been an Arsenal player at the moment. But the problem is from Arsenal board. I'm asking myself, what could be the problem? They have talked about Ozymandias is not yet coming. They're always late on the market, and this kills kind of like the level of competition.
For Zubimendi, the deal is imminent. It's only just a matter of him coming for his medical. But more, let's talk about Arsenal has got a priority to do in the fourth position. They talked about Benjamin Sesko of RB Leipzig. Between the two strikers, whom will you fancy for Team Arsenal?
I think I could go for a Sporting Lisbon's striker because he had scored the all-time goals. He knows where the net is. It will now depend. Will he fit in the system early? Yeah, but he's a good player.
You go for Benjamin Sesko?
I go for Benjamin Sesko.
With all the creativity that Aston Villa has got at their disposal, a good thing is, I think a player with Premier League experience who has been in England before, I think Victor Gyökeres could be a perfect one for them. But let's shift the focus and I'll talk about.
Remember, most of the players who comes from Portugal, they don't always perform well in England. I could give you an example of also the Darwin Núñez himself. You look at a Manchester player who is the captain. He's not doing the expected that I believe.
Man, you're talking about Bruno Fernandes.
I'm talking about Bruno Fernandes. At times, you really see him totally off. He's trying his best because he's the captain.
You're talking about Bruno Fernandes, who is a team leader at Manchester United, really?
At times, team leaders also do headers.
Maybe. Anyway, everyone is starting with his opinion. That's Maurice's opinion that Bruno Fernandes is one of the worst actual players from Portugal that has come in the Premier League for him. But I don't buy his idea. That's according to me. Let's talk about Team Barcelona Football Club. Remember, they have been in the transfer market looking for players. But one of the biggest names that they have been looking for, and the player is willing to play for them, is Nico Williams of Team Atletico Bilbao. It seems like the deal is imminent, and he will be crossing to Team Barcelona. Remember, he has been playing with Yamal before for the Spanish national team. Could he be a very big addition for Team Barcelona?
It's going to be a very big addition, but now the question is, where would Rafinha go? Because that one shows his automatic replacement of Rafinha. If I was to be a team like Arsenal, I could now begin eyeing at Rafinha. If I could be a team like Manchester United, I could be eyeing at Rafinha, because the moment Nico Williams crosses to Barcelona, he will never be a bench material. He'll always be a starter. So it's going to be a very wonderful move for Barcelona and the country Spain itself, because the two young lads have been having one of the best combinations so far. If you watch at the World Cup, the Nations Cup, they have been doing so well. Spain, I watched the game whereby they punished France. It was one of the best games against Spain. So you look at the two flanks, the way it drives, it was actually still one of the best. So if the combination develop and cooks well at Team Barcelona, it will still be the good news for Spain. Yeah.
But how do you talk about, the chemistry between Yamal and Nico Williams? For the national team, that's Spain. They've been very phenomenal, and their actual influence in the team has been so appreciative, and everyone has been talking about that. And would you like to see that actual influence carried forward in the team of Barcelona? I mean, remember, that Barcelona team looks very young, and a player in the names of Nico Williams coming in, it could be something of a juicy deal for Team Barcelona, and they'll be there to give a hard chance. A hard challenge for Team Real Madrid and Atletico Madrid as far as chasing the top spot in the Spanish League is concerned.
I think it's high time people should believe that it has been high time for Madrid winning trophies. Right now, it's back to Barcelona because this time they went with triple. So Real Madrid didn't go with any trophy. And you look at the recruitment they are making in the team. They are bringing only young lads. That shows that they are bringing projects of 5 to 6 years and above. So it really shows that they are truly into the business. Well, the club is going. According to me, I'm saying the club will be so much better than the previous season. Yeah.
But let's first talk about one of the biggest stories that came through, and that has been reported by one of the legends. Remember, that's Eden van der Sar. He has been one of the legendary players actually at Manchester United. He did say that he thinks Manchester United will be winning the Premier League over Arsenal, over Chelsea, over Manchester City and Liverpool. Do you buy that idea with him, or do you have a different version? Remember, the Premier League is kicking off very soon, and the fixtures have been released already.
First of all, I don't refuse anyone's idea. That's Van der Sar for you, and he's a legend at Manchester United. So he has all the sweet words to motivate the boys. But if you're a true fan of soccer and Manchester United, I think it's a big lie on my side because they are recruiting players who have got no experience. They have to develop experience within their coach, who is actually new. He's also still learning Premier League football. So it's going to take him time. I do believe if they give this young lad time, like 3 to 4 years, he will do something good at Manchester United. But not that next season. That one I disagree 100% with Van der Sar because you look at the likes of Angry Man City. They are recruiting good players. Chelsea, that I'm also predicting one of the contenders this coming season 2025-2026 because they have good players. Liverpool itself is in the mix of maintaining the trophy. So Manchester United with Van der Sar, it's still a gamble. I can say it's a gamble. What he mentioned that to make the players confident, to give courage to the players that whatever condition you guys are in, you can make it. I think it was just a motivation word. That's all.
But Boris, let's first talk about still Manchester United. Remember, Ruben Amorim did say that players like Marcus Rashford, players like Anthony and Garnacho, Jadon Sancho, they have to find their own clubs. And do you really agree with Ruben Amorim that these players need to find their own club? Have they been letting the club down?
Probably, if you look at the players that he selected, Garnacho, Sancho, and then
Anthony
and
Rashford.
I think these are the key players that I can't bench if I'm the coach. They are fantastic. But this guy wants to develop what we call total discipline at the club, whereby everybody respects him. You understand? I think you realize most of these players, they feel like they are bigger than the club. So you want to show most of the young upcoming players that no, you're not bigger than the club. I'm bigger than you. I'm heading you. So you must listen to me. He's trying to focus on discipline issues, whereby it's kind of like a good start for him. But I'm seeing it in the other way around, that it may be a knock for him because you remember when you just come in, he started criticizing the likes of Casemiro, and then these are the players who actually made him reach to the final with Spurs, whereby he was supposed to respect these players a lot. By the time Garnacho came into the game, Garnacho changed the game. Some good shots on target was there. So like you really see, is not being fair enough, and you would have called these players and say, you are my key players. I truly want you to guys to make other players learn through you. He would have calmed these players down, but just because of pride, is the one making Manchester United down. He's too proud of his ego. He's killing the coach himself because, and ego also killed another one called who? Ten Hag. It was also ego. A player must not say anything bad on the or against him. But as a good leader, you must listen to either side, whether you are wrong or well. You also, it's like saying a parent will never wrong. That is wrong.
But
You understand? So at Manchester United, I think the only coach who managed to handle players in a good manner, he will have a crash with you today. He'll sit you down, but at the end of the day, you will realize that this player has a future, and that is Sir Alex Ferguson. So at the same time, he's also the cause of everything at the moment at Manchester United.
Oh.
You see, the more you delay in power, is the more mistakes the more error you create. Right now, by the time Ferguson left, the chosen one was Moyes. Moyes didn't do anything. And if you're a wise person, you could think that Ferguson want the legacy to remain.
Then they brought Louis van Gaal in.
Louis van Gaal. From Louis van Gaal, who?
Jose Mourinho came in.
Jose Mourinho, the special one, came in. But he tried. Went up to the final. He won some FA.
He won the Europa League for them.
He won the Europa League for them. So you really see, by the time Jose came, he was the first person who said, I want Paul Pogba before I come. They signed Paul Pogba for him. But he was the first coach again to clash with Pogba. So I think it is a culture at Manchester United ever since Ferguson left that players will always have issues with coaches.
But so are we saying that Ruben Amorim is trying to buy his time at Manchester United? Remember, says some of these big-headed players in your squad also will give you well. Remember, building a team needs a process, and you have to iron out some of the issues that you think that they're not circled well with you. Remember, when Klopp came in,
he maintained the player.
He first maintained them, and he was not clicking well with Felipe Coutinho. And Felipe Coutinho really wanted to go. He sold him to Barcelona. Mikel Arteta came at Arsenal Football Club. He was not fancying what actually Mesut Ozil was doing actually in that team of Arsenal. He chased him away. Pep Guardiola did the same. But are we seeing the same character happening with Amorim at Manchester United?
With Arteta, he had a fear. He knew very well Mesut Ozil. They played together. So he knew he was not going to have such kind of like a little bit of respect and everything. I'm seeing because in a club we always have such kind of players out there. In each and every club, big-headed players are always there. But how do you handle them? I remember Jose Obi Mikel one day saying, the only player who actually succeeded in life without struggling a lot is Eden Hazard. Eden Hazard never used to go even for training at Chelsea. So when he went to Madrid, whereby it needed truly hard work, that's where now he started getting injuries and everything. You should not miss training. So I truly believe that if this guy had put a lot of measures on these players could still change. Yeah.
That's Manchester United for you.
Yeah.
But let's first talk about Manchester City with Pep Guardiola, with his signings. Do you expect them giving a lot of high chances of teams next season? Remember, they signed a couple of good players, and Kevin De Bruyne left them. So we say that Manchester City, they're craving for something very special this time around.
It is high time that Guardiola have over relied on the team for some good number of seasons, relying on one team. Now he's facing the bitterness of relying on one team because you look at Klopp tactic. People thought maybe he's trying to maybe he's not understanding the game, but Klopp understood the game. Give the young lad opportunity. The earlier, the better. You saw the likes of, you could bring in the likes of the likes of Heavy Elliott, the likes of Brentley, who is now one of the best right back. So like you look at how he used to do his things, it was unique. Guardiola never used to give opportunities to young lads. And then I could say he's not a player who like Africans players a lot, because if you look at the replacement of Mahrez,
He brought Ndoku.
he brought Doku, but Doku didn't do any impact big. He is not as much talented as Mahrez. He's not as much experienced as Mahrez. Mahrez has been in the league. He has not been giving him playing time, but the moment he comes, he changes the game. He creates Sanchez. He gives assists. So it's going to give him hard time. It's still going to be high time for his players also catching up with Premier League.
But Maurice, let's first talk about the fixtures of the English Premier League that are set to kick off on 15th of August. Champions Liverpool will be open. The campaign against Bournemouth, that will be on Friday at 10 p.m. East African time. Then Aston Villa will be playing Newcastle United. Then Brighton and Hove Albion will be playing against Fulham. And then Team Sunderland, that were promoted from the Championship to the Premier League, will be playing against West Ham United. Tottenham Hotspur will be playing against Burnley, also a promoted side. Then Nottingham Forest will be playing against Brentford, where Brian Mbeumo plays for. Then Wolves will be playing against Manchester City. Chelsea will be playing against Crystal Palace. Manchester United, the biggest game of the week, will be playing Team Arsenal Football Club. Where do you see the Premier League actually? Which one is the biggest fixture for you after seeing? Remember, Manchester United Arsenal Football is just an ordinary game for me for now.
Anyway, like as I said, which one is the biggest fixture? If I look at the biggest fixture here, I could talk about Nottingham Brentford. This is a big game. Both sides last season they are eager. Nottingham almost played Champions League, but they missed abruptly. Brentford also kind of like we are pushing so hard to make it through. Then the other fixture, I think, for the fans, Manchester United, of course, and Arsenal is one of the biggest one. That is going to be the game of the week. The simple game that someone may say is the biggest, I think, is Aston Villa and Newcastle.
But why is it special? Remember, Eddie Hoy at Newcastle United, he has made them to qualify for the Champions League, and now Emery succumbed to a 2-0 defeat to Manchester United on the last day. Why do you say that this is the biggest game to you?
It's the biggest game because both of them were fighting for the gong, and I think one didn't make it. So if you look at it will now depend on the signings and which players have they maintained, which players have they kept. But for me, on my side, I'm seeing the biggest game of the starting week of Premier League. It is Aston Villa and Newcastle.
As well, that's the team that I support so much. That's Newcastle United for you, a team with ambitions and
don't forget,
don't
don't forget also the upcoming team. Sunderland may surprise West Ham. That's my say because they have performed so fantastic in the championship.
Okay.
Yeah.
Actually, thanks so much, Morris, for all those exclusive analysis. And let's first talk about this game that are going in USA before we call it a day. That is the FIFA Club World Cup. What's your overall assessment of this game so far?
I think if you look at all these games, I think the South American teams are doing it better.
How?
Whereby at least they have the three. Actually, the South American teams, none of them from Mexico made it. None of them from Chile made it. But if you talk about teams in Brazil, all the four teams were leading the table. But as I'm talking right now, three teams have qualified in the round of 16, whereby you have the likes of Palmeiras, you have the likes of Flamengo, and you have the likes of Botafogo. They have automatically qualified. Then Inter Miami also had qualified from USA. So they are doing well. The team from Europe are truly struggling. You look at a team like Borussia Dortmund, also like kind of, if I'm not mistaken, they may be thrown out today. So, it's going to be a high time.
Do we agree this one to the fact that the weather in US is not fair? Because one of in USA currently the weather is very hot.
At the moment, yeah, the weather is hot, but USA and Colombia is almost the season comes, guys, all hot. So it's not all about the weather. It's all about getting used with the condition. If If you're born a fighter, you're always a fighter. You will not tell me that you didn't win your game because the weather was too hot. No, you will not tell me that you didn't win the game because the weather was too cold. So,
but
me, on my say, I'm still seeing Brazilian teams are going to push far.
but there's always water in the bro. Actually, at the at the time of at around 50 minutes, there's also water break actually in the second half. Then in the first half, around 30 or 35 minutes there, there's always a break. And let's talk about the number of fans in the stadium. It's kind of lacking.
Yeah, it's kind of lacking because if you look at this, these are like continental games whereby people come from different places of Africa, South America, Asia, Europe, whereby most of these clubs, I think, the fan base, some of them are seeing that this game is not too much interesting. So you see when Mamelodi Sundowns were playing, the accountable fans like 150. So it's all about the fan base. For you making your flights from here to to USA is not something easy financially. But if you look at the bigger clubs, the PSGs, the Real Madrid, at least they've got fans. But as you said, weather is also kind of like a little bit because some of them are a little bit kind of like used to cold weather. So that fear was also there. Not that they don't love the games, but in USA, basically, people follow basketball more than soccer.
Morris, we're just 5 minutes away actually to call it a quit. Let's finish actually the day with local sports. And remember, of the weekend, Medicine Football Club managed to beat a team in the names of Young Elephants Academy 1-0 actually at the Low Grounds. One of the biggest games, and the crowd was there. The fans of Young Elephants actually slept actually in the pitch of Nebisenda's low grounds in there. So we say that Nebisenda Football Club has stepped away from qualifying to the big league.
Yeah, you see, I think actually I need to give big thanks to the management of Nebi Central there because the organization of them was a little bit too unique, too good. Fans of Nebi also slept at the pitch on that very day because I communicated to one of the board members there. He's called Eric. He was informing me how the fans have come early to sleep at the pitch and they no longer wants to go away. So you truly see that the love for football, I think this time it had come back in West Nile with Nebi Central. And at the moment, I think they're one of the biggest. They have one of the biggest fans in West Nile. Than even at the moment, Nebi Central. If you go to Nebi, where guys come from Pakwach, Nyapea, Zombo, where watching Nebi Central. So I just kind of give pride to them that one step away, they should just go and what they defend. I think this coming Sunday they will be going to Noya.
A draw will be okay.
A draw is a goal for them because they are leading 1-0. They have 1-0 advantage goal, so a draw is a goal for them. Okay. So I'm just giving them like a word of encouragement. Go get the gong and call it a done business so that it will do the mix. How many clubs will be in big league from West Nile? You will talk about Onduparaka. You will talk about Paida Black Angels that didn't make it to qualify. Then you talk about Nebi Central. At least three clubs. It will give hard time for Central guys to come in and also pick draws and pick losses.
But how do you see it like three clubs being from Western and they play their trades
actually
in the same league? And how impressed would that one be? Remember, Western has been so aggressive when it comes to the fans, and the hooliganism is always there. Remember, Nebisendo and Peter Blackens, they have clashed several times. In case Team Nebisendo Football Club, how should they be like?
I think it's high time. It's high time people should know that in football, it's all over the world. A derby is always a derby. A derby will come with a lot of definitions. A derby will come with a lot of category of human beings in. So, if Navy Central qualifies, it's a done deal that it's going to be. I think both board members should sit and lecture their fans. Are they coming as fans of destroyers or they are coming as fans of successors? Those are the questions. Because if you're coming to support destroying, you know, of course, law will come in. This could be a very good business target for both teams. We go make the funds, we go pick the money at the gate, but we shouldn't cause any harm to anyone. I think it could be, and that's why these guys in Europe they are better than us because they are focused on business first, then the rest will come in.
Now, let's first finish the show with the Calvary story. I've never asked you about the Calvary story. Remember, they were crowned the champions of the FIFA Big League, and they were awarded the new Big League trophy, which looks more of a drum, but I fancy it to be actually a drum trophy, more of a Big League trophy. So, what should Calvary do ahead of them? Because we know they're going to the Sometimes Ghana Premier League, the biggest challenge for them.
Probably, I think Calvary at the moment they are talking of a new coach, whereby a team I think is not qualified to be on a touchline for Uganda Premier League.
Yeah, he has Cup B.
Yeah, whereby he has been a fantastic coach to the extent whereby I do believe however much they are getting a new coach, they should maintain that guy to be with him because he knows the boys. The boys respect him. The boys loves him because of him. They made it. This is the era where our clubs does, most of the clubs here. You bring in a coach knowingly this coach does not have the enough requirements for the for. Now you need to put yourself that he's having a Cup B. Why don't we take him for Cup D? Clubs must learn how to actually take these coaches for courses. And this is a lesson because you've got one of the best coach in the big league. Better than even one of the coaches in the Ghana Premier League. Why don't you actually value him and take him for some small education and he get his papers so that you don't miss him? And this is what I think Green Forest is going to do for past few years to come. You'll be seeing our coaches going for courses because we want to maintain them. They have the boys have love for them. So I think one, they are going to miss the coach. Two, they should also rebuild on the team. They should bring in new players. By this time, they should be on market searching for players because our transfer is opening on 1st of July. So they should actually begin looking for players. I know players they have to go for any kind of players they think. They have to be having a nice scouting team.
And remember, Maurice, every league has got each type of players. Big league has each type of players. Regional league has each type of players. Then the Premier League has its type of players. So Calvary Football Club will go for those bigger name players. You see that they kind of retain the team for longer period of time in the times Ghana Premier League.
There's no need of going for a bigger name. I believe any player you pick from maybe Odrama Chaco, you pick maybe from let me say Araka FC, you go pick players from Boma. You look at these relegated teams and you try to look at one of the best. Chelsea have managed to acquire deal. So they're always good players. There's this striker for Maida. I think this guy scored a very beautiful goal at Greenlight. I still admire him up to now. I feel like they should actually look for the player and go for a goal.
All right, Orbaga Ken Morris, the only pride actually in Western. Thanks so much for joining me into the show. And what's your parting shot before we leave the studios?
I truly love Sarah's TV. They should actually continue. They should continue with a good development into the country, into the region. It's always a pleasure, and I'll always be grateful coming back here again. I love you guys. Let's stay safe. My last parting words is always let's stay safe. Don't drive and drink. I think that's the only last message I could say to the viewers.
I think after here, you're taking me to something, right?
I think I'll be departing.
Viewers, it's always a very big pleasure being with you. Thanks so much for watching Satellite TV. We shall be next back again on your screens tomorrow from 6 to 7 p.m. right here on Satellite TV. Thanks so much for watching us. It's always a pleasure. Thanks so much. Right.